What's up, everyone? This is Tin Man with Resistance.
And I'm Lucid.
Welcome to the square bed discussion. We're not at a round table. We are sitting on my bed.
And we're just basically waiting for peeps to come on in now. Do we have anybody here yet?
Not yet.
I can't see. I don't have my prescription.
We have 0 viewers right now, but the invitation went out to over 300 people.
You got to use the 10% rule, though. So
yeah. So we're only get like 3 people.
Well, that's the 1% rule, but yeah, 3 people.
Yeah. Well, I know drummer's trying to get on right now.
You talked to him already?
Yeah, he was trying to figure that out. Curse Wolf, this was initially something that he wanted, so he better show up.
I don't know what my buddy wants to go by.
Rubber baby buggy bumpers.
No, we call, well, when we were rapping together back in the day when we were doing underground shit, he was called Hatchet Assassin. So his, I guess his name for now is going to be Hatchet Assassin until we figure it out. But he's not able to show up today. His computer took a shit this morning, so he's trying to get that squared away for the 7 o'clock show tonight. And that's Pacific Standard Time, by the way. Eastern Standard Time, I don't know exactly if it's 3 or 4 hours. Is it? I could have swore it's 4 hours.
I believe it's 4.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock our time, 10 o'clock their time, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Depending on where you are centrally is, you know, you're just going to have to do the math.
We're online right now, so.
But,
and there's a countdown clock for the fucking thing, so.
Dude,
you can't read a countdown clock. I'm sorry.
You know that running other programs while trying to do a live broadcast is going to bog your shit down. Just saying.
Yeah. That's why there's no other programs open. We just got the...
You got Facebook open. You got the live broadcast open.
Shut up.
And yeah, you should probably shut that shit down and focus on what we're doing here.
Yeah. I'm trying to...
Oh, you're going to see if they're going to come?
Yeah. Trying to make
if
sure
they're going to join, I mean.
Yeah.
My wife is here as well. Mystique is off camera, but she may chime in here and there with some smart-ass remarks from her pregnant chair over there. Who are you typing, Curse Wolf?
Drummer.
Drummer? Like I said, I can't see.
Drummer's trying to figure it out. Bird, he needs to get in on this thing for once.
Does he have the time to?
Yeah.
Does he have a computer even?
He can do it from his phone.
Google Hangout with his phone?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, Skype and FaceTime and shit like that works, but I didn't know that Google Hangout would work on the phone. Well, whatever mobile device you got, whatever's compatible with Google Hangout, you guys can join us, whether this time or next time.
We got 3 views, 4 viewers.
What is our main discussion for today anyway? We haven't even touched on that yet.
Cursed Wolf, if he's on, and I can encourage anybody who wants to join the party to get on and chime in the discussion. You can either just type in the chat box or you can come live with us.
Yeah, you could type in the chat box and we'll read it out loud. If you guys don't want your voices or your faces on screen, that's fine. We understand. Yeah. Anonymity is your best friend at this point, probably. So, if you guys wanted to chime in on the discussion, please just type in the chat bar. We'll read it out loud. We'll address everybody's questions as they come in, or however. But anyway, like I said, what is the main topic for today? And I need you to hand me that shit, please.
The ashtray?
No, the stuff to make a cigarette.
Yeah. Oh. Our main discussion. This is something that Cursed Wolf wanted to do. He wanted to discuss Jade Helm.
Take the cancer dick out of your mouth and then talk.
He wants to talk about Jade Helm and the prospect of martial law and what the activist community and Anonymous and everybody else are planning to do. What course of action should be taken?
Well, I know that I saw that video on that one chick did in 2012. We just saw it yesterday. It was a new video that we hadn't seen before. She was talking about how Obama signed a executive order to basically take control of all of our natural resources and all this shit. I mean, it's a kind of a long video that she posted. It was like a 10-minute video or something like that, or 12 minutes. So I don't remember word for word what happened or how everything went down, but it basically stated that he is going to be seizing control of anything at any given time. So your house, you don't own it. Your car, you don't own it. Your water supply, your backyard, your land, you don't own it anymore. I mean, you own it on paper, but Obama could come and seize it at any given time. And I don't remember what executive order that is and all that stuff. But anyway, my point to that being is for the Jade Helm thing and people who are planning on, you know, running out to the hills, Obama owns the hills too. So keep that in mind if you guys are planning on using my plan about, you know, abandoning all civilization and going out in the wilderness and kind of just trying to survive out there. If Obama owns it, he probably is monitoring it. So keep that in mind.
Phone call conversations.
Phone call conversation.
Yeah, everything. He owns every satellite in the United States. He owns everything. He owns. I mean, as far as that executive law is concerned, he can seize control at any given time. But that goes kind of hand in hand with what we were talking about with the Jade Helm thing and martial law being enacted. Was that, you know, if you guys are planning on running out to the hills, you know what I mean? Probably not a good idea. I don't know.
It's probably the first place they're gonna look.
Yeah, it's probably the first place you're gonna look. So anyway,
Anonymous Sig, you have been invited. I sent you the invite personally. You just gotta go through the deal. But if you need an invite, then I will send out the invite again if I need to.
just send it again, just to be polite.
Yeah.
And anyway, Jade Helm, they're training on our own soil, right? Is that what we're talking about here?
In preparation for martial law, what they're doing is basically just trying to get people used to a martial law scenario.
So we're talking concentration camps, well, FEMA camps, or whatever you want to call them.
We've already got the FEMA camps.
Yeah, they've turned old sports stadiums and Walmarts into these FEMA camps, and have already pretty much started building on that aspect. So I don't know if they started, you know, rounding people up yet, but anyway, Tin Man.
Yeah, I'm making sure to get the invite out to people.
This is only our third Google Hangout session here, so it's kind of still pretty new to us. So we're trying to work out all the kinks and bugs. So just bear with us. If there's silence, it's not because you can't hear us or whatever. It's just because he's busy with screens up and shit like that, and I can't see anything.
Yeah, it's a bitch.
But anyway.
Well, what are your thoughts, Lucid, on what should be done should martial law be implemented?
I think Obama is trying to implement martial law so he can stay in office. I think that he's using the our Second Amendment rights as a tool, just like Hitler did. I mean, this is turning into a Hitler regime here, guys. In my opinion, I feel like he's taken away from our Second Amendment rights for gun control, so that he can disarm the public, so that there's little to no resistance pockets left in his way to initiate martial law, so that he can stay in office and basically eventually.
You just made it.
Yep, how's it going, Tin Man?
It's going good, bro. How have you been?
It's been touch and go, but it's going pretty well. And how's it going?
Yeah.
Can you get it?
Glad to be back in touch with you, man. Glad you can make it.
Likewise, I didn't know when you guys were coming back after I saw the Judgment Day video.
Yeah, we actually been kind of in hiatus because we had some technical difficulties with internet and computers and all kinds of different things, and we just been kind of touch and go. You know, we've been still recording and doing things and trying to upload as often as we possibly can, but without computers and without access to internet and stuff like that, just without access to stuff like that, you know, we've been kind of not able to continue on. Yeah, we've been without a paddle. Without a paddle, exactly.
Understandable.
In water this deep.
Yeah.
It's been a bitch.
But basically what we're talking about right now is the whole Jade Helm thing and how they're training on American soil to initiate martial law, stuff like that, and you know, what our views and opinions on all this topic concerns.
Yeah. Zach, what are your thoughts concerning the Jade Helm operation? Because many people were believing that it was going to be the beginning of martial law, and we're getting ready. I've even heard that Anonymous has been setting up safe locations for people in order to mount a resistance.
I honestly haven't heard about what's been going on as far as Jade Helm, but as I mentioned before in several comments, if they were to try martial law, it would be the worst mistake they ever made.
Absolutely. At this point in time, anyway, I mean, if Obama is able to initiate his
operation, because many people were believing that it was going to be the beginning of martial law, and we're getting ready.
So, first of all,
is setting up safe locations for people, and
yeah. So, Curse Wolf, this is something that you wanted to do. I initially heard a lot of this shit from you in regards to Anonymous was going to be setting up safe locations in order to mount a resistance should Jade Helm result in full-on martial law. What is your input on this? You were really pushing to have this whole thing.
36 days before Jade Helm was even initiated, this is what I posted on Facebook.
Okay, would you go ahead and read that off for people who can't see it?
June 9th. My words as we travel through time have been more intense, for the reason is we have no time left. The future is now, and we must protect ourselves for what is to come, as I warn you of the law that is. I do not know what it is called, but it simply means when military personnel walks upon your door and says more or less, come with me or die, and if you more or less say fuck off, it becomes capture or kill. If you not believe, look it up. They have the right to round us all up into FEMA camps for our protection. We live in an information age. World War III has begun. Wake up, America. Do not be blinded by the illusion that they want you to see. The truth is out there. Find it.
Very good. I like that.
So, as far as Jade Helm is concerned, I heard it started on the 15th of July, correct? Am I right on that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people believe. That's the exact moment it started, as well as whenever those military killings happen.
Right.
That was to, like, say, hey, to the mainstream that this is the only way that we can say that this has started, because they've been told not to say anything. Because I tried to get with my local newscaster, and I started broadcasting about Jade Helm all over their Facebook page, and I got blocked.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that this whole martial law enactment and stuff like this has been in place since Obama's been in office, maybe even before. But I've more recently have heard about it since he's been in office. All this, I know that they've been doing training seminars and stuff like that with the military personnel at locations such as Ben Clark Training Center, these abandoned facilities, to train military personnel how to deal with civilians in aspect to martial law, taking them captive or I've seen it driving down the freeway a few years back. I've seen military personnel drop out of helicopters, go into these abandoned buildings, doing training routines for, they shoot gas grenades, dummy gas grenades in there and all kinds of crap, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you being former military, you know this shit and you recognize it when you see it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So the big question.
You don't have to roll them, and they're about $10 cheaper.
Well, we get
Big bag like this, $15. Tubes, about $3.
we get 2 cartons of cigarettes for like $25.
Yeah.
I get 8 cartons for less than $80.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where do
Depending
you
on
order
where
that?
you go. Depending on where you go, you get between 5 to 8 cartons for less than $100.
Wow.
Well, are you in the state of California?
Nope, I'm on the East Coast.
All right.
Yeah, it's probably cheaper where you're at. I won't ask your exact location.
Navy
Right.
City, USA, I've dubbed it.
Okay.
There's like 15 Navy bases in my city alone.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the big question that I've been wondering, and I know a lot of people have been asking this as well. If Civil War hits, what side will the military be on? Will they be on our side, like what happened in Egypt, or will they just be subservient to the government and the commander-in-chief?
The government itself will be on the government side, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
talking
so
as far
too.
as military personnel.
Well, from what I've heard from many of the current soldiers out there, that they have an oath to this Constitution. Like, they have families just like us, and some of them are just waiting for him to make that call to defend the Constitution and overthrow these people, and actually have because if they enact martial law, every man, woman, and child has the right to go after any of these crooks, by legally allowed to by the Second Amendment to overthrow a tyrannical government.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if it becomes war, then you have those protection acts that you're not allowed to be prosecuted for an act of war. How would that work in a martial law scenario? I'm not sure how that would work.
Well,
You
like
would
he
probably
said,
know a
like
little
he
better.
said, it would protect our constitutional rights would protect us against prosecution because of acts of war and because we have the right to overthrow a tyrannical government. It says it right in the Constitution. It says it's not only our right but our duty to do so.
Yeah.
I've just recently come upon this little video that I found and I've thrown to a lot of people that in World War II they actually had camps for radical Americans. And they can do it again. The general said they have the right to do it again.
Yeah. We incarcerated a lot of the Japanese American citizens, correct?
That's what I hear from a lot of people, but it wasn't just Japanese Americans or Japanese in these camps is what I'm trying to explain.
Yeah. Well, that kind of goes without saying. I mean, you had Japanese sympathizers who were in one way connected with the Japanese or helped hide Japanese Americans, or just people who didn't agree with what was going on and stood up against it. So you got to figure, though the primary target was the Japanese, many other people got caught in that crossfire as well. You know, regardless of race.
Another thing, too, with the radicals in Canada, Stephen Harper tried to pass that C-51 bill that could persecute any protesters or to classify them as radicals, and to try to push it down.
Yeah, Connor was talking about that a while back.
Yeah, they kind of did the similar thing. I don't know if this is part and parcel to that, but I know that that they've kind of taken away our right to picket in front of the White House. They're no longer allowed to gather in a public forum to protest anymore in front of the White House. It's an act of terrorism.
There's actually been a law recently passed around where I live that as long as it's a peaceful protest, the police will actually border you off so that you're contained. But they have the right to decide what is peaceful and what is not.
I saw a live broadcast of people protesting in front of the White House and being kicked off the lawn because not necessarily the lawn, but you know the street right there, yeah, Pennsylvania Avenue right there in front of the White House, because they were protesting and one of the sergeants were being interviewed, and or the captain was being interviewed, and one of the sergeants came up to be interviewed as well, and he said something he wasn't supposed to be saying, and the captain walked up and whispered in his ear, and the guy out loud said, I just got fired for telling you guys this stuff. I got to go. Bye, and he left. I mean, that's the point that we're at right now. People are trying to hide the truth about this martial law and, you know, our suppression of our civil rights, and people aren't doing anything about it. People are just going with the flow because people don't care about protesting. They don't care about the country like they used to back in the day. And right now, it's
really sad.
It's even less, and it's getting less and less. And you know, I mean, yeah, more and more people are getting woken up. But how many people actually get on camera, or how many people actually protest? How many people actually go out and do something about this?
Yeah. And for those who are just joining us, we got 5 viewers right now. If you want to chime in on this conversation, go ahead and get on vid or audio chat, or you can even just post your comments in the comment section here.
We're basically talking about Jade Helm and enacting martial law, what the whole circumference of that whole aspect.
Yes, this is a public roundtable discussion. We encourage everybody who has an opinion to voice the opinion, and just go ahead and jump in on this sucker. So,
anyway, continuing on.
Here's another question. If martial law does happen, what are we going to do? Not just you and I, but
people in general.
The activist community, Anonymous, Tea Party, every activist group, what is going to happen? What are we going to do? What action is going to be taken?
Anonymous is waiting for mob rule, in my opinion. That's what a lot of their videos sound like.
Okay.
So they're waiting for action before they take action.
No, they're waiting for mob rule so that we have more on our side so that we can just beat the enemy by numbers, and it's not always by numbers you can defeat an enemy.
Right, and see, that was my point a while back in a video that I don't know if it was a video that I just did or a discussion that me and Tin Man had here, but it was basically based on if everybody would just wake up and smell the fucking the dumpster here, that we would be able to, just in numbers alone, be able to take control and reenact our constitutional rights and protections. And just with our numbers alone, we should be able to handle business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about these comfortable people, man? These comfortable people that rather not hear anything at all. Just don't tell me. Leave me alone. I don't care.
Well, you hear that?
Hold on one second. My wife is one of those people. Maybe she can give us some insight on her views and opinions on that. Not just because she's content. She's scared of the whole situation. She doesn't want to hear about it because it scares her. So,
right. So Jesse, come on over and pop your 2 cents in.
Can you don't have to get on camera. You just sit right here and talk into the microphone. Talking to the microphone.
Giant elephant.
My wife is pregnant and she's about to pop, so she's gonna take a second to get over here. So go ahead and take a bathroom break, cook some food.
I'll take a minute to say what I just typed. Things not allowed to be seen at YouTube.com. A list of things I have found and made a list out of. I have made none of the videos. I just put them together and it's updated as often as I find things.
There you go.
Okay, so here's my wife. She's gonna tell you about. Go ahead and re-ask your question so that way she can phrase it the best she can.
Okay, what's up with these comfortable people that just don't want to hear about it? They just don't want to listen to anything you tell them, even though all the overwhelming evidence points to that this is just a load of illusion that's fed to all of us.
For a lot of people, it's very scary to think that our everyday life that we're used to can really get blown up to crap, and everything you know is
a lie.
A lie, and the way you've been raised and the way you've gone about doing everything, and you know, like me being a mom with kids, like it's scary to start thinking about having to have them go through this stuff, or where we're going to be in a year.
So basically, it's easier to pretend that it's not
Everything's
happening.
okay.
Yeah, it's easier to pretend that it's okay rather than accept the reality of the
Yes.
situation. And we saw a lot of that in World War II.
Not necessarily meaning that we're cowards. I mean, there are a lot of cowards out there. But me, specifically, when it comes down to it, you know, I'll do what needs to be done. But for now, I just like to sit back.
She's basically waiting for the hammer to fall, and then at which point she'll be more apt to take action. She's one of those people who are watching from the background, the quiet person in the corner that you got to watch out for. You know what I mean? And she's waiting for that hammer to fall, and once that does...
And it doesn't necessarily mean that people don't believe that it's going on or that it's happening. It's just easier not to believe it than to run with it.
Yeah, and I've noticed this quite a few times. Many people choose to think, well, it doesn't concern me. It doesn't have anything to do with me, so why am I going to get involved? I don't care.
Because you're part of this world. You are a human. And
Yeah.
in order to have knowledge and to come to things of knowledge, you have to embrace the unknown. How high could you count whenever you was 5? How high can you count now? It's because you embrace the unknown.
Yeah. But a lot of people think, oh, well, it doesn't concern me, it doesn't affect me, so why get involved? But what they don't understand...
That's what I say about the Confederate flag and all these Confederate monuments. It didn't happen to you, so why are you making such a big deal out of it?
Yeah.
I think that it seems to be more like when people are they're still enslaved, like they have to live paycheck to paycheck. Some of these people spend most of their time trading it for monetary gain than to get involved, and therefore when it comes down to politics, they think they just lost faith in the system, because the majority of people agree that our system is corrupted. But in order to take action, it's like they just feel that... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, yes.
Put it this way, too. Like, you know, people that have been in prison for so long, they get released.
They don't know what to do.
They don't know what to do. Where do they end up back? Back right in the system, so that they have... Because in there, they're on a schedule. They're used to doing the same things over and over again.
It's what they know.
Right.
It's all they know.
I'm going to go grab the fan. I'll be right back.
A lot of people are, like I keep saying, a lot of people are just not necessarily, what word would you use? Oblivious to the fact that things are going the way they're going. They're just, I don't know how to explain
Complacent?
it. Yeah, it's easier to see it going around, and it's not happening right in your vicinity. You're not the one right up in it, so therefore it's easier to put it on the back burner than have it on the front.
Yeah, I can understand that. But what people need to realize is that this does affect you. If they're going to implement martial law, you're not going to be just sitting pretty in your home. You're going to have the economic collapse. You're going to have war in the fucking streets. Shit's going to get fucking nuts, and it's going to affect you one way or another. Even if you don't wind up in a fucking FEMA camp, it's going to affect you. You're not going to be able to walk down the fucking street without coming across some crazy shit. You're not going to be able to drive your car without passing by a checkpoint or being part of a checkpoint or being stopped randomly to have your vehicle searched or your ID ran because you're part of what they consider the problem. You know, even if you don't think that it concerns you, they say it does concern you, and you're getting a dick in your ass whether you want it to or not. And that's what people understand.
There's this game that I goof off with on Newgrounds. It's called Deep State, and it pretty much shows you that you have to have fear in order to invoke democracy. But in order to get fear, you have to kill a few civilians, and in order to do all this, you have to make sure you have the money to do all this. So it basically shows you how the government works without actually telling you that, hey, this is how the government works.
That's an interesting synopsis. Thank you for sharing that, Kirst. I hadn't even thought about that, and I know what game you're talking about. I'm a frequent visitor to Newgrounds. I'm always
You've heard of deep state before?
Huh?
You've heard of deep state?
Yeah, I've heard of deep state, but go ahead and elaborate on it. You clearly have a doctor in there, so go ahead and roll with it.
I see everything at one time. It's so crazy, man. It's so much stuff at one time I see and notice and realize. If you actually wanted to put it to something, I've been awakened as long as we technically stay in this reality. I've been awakened 21 years, and I'm only 27 years old.
Well, that's good. I didn't even get woken up until after 9/11. My mom was looking for the Michael Moore movie, and she happened to download an Alex Jones film by mistake. And
They knew 9/11 was going to happen in the 70s.
Well, yeah, I mean, they tried to get it to happen in 1991, and that didn't pan out because they didn't park the truck right up against the main support column, so it didn't bring the building down.
Get this, guys. I don't know if you guys know about this. If you guys have seen our past transmissions, you probably know about it. But my wife just brought something up to me that that I forgot about. They were dropping hints in cartoons, specifically
programming.
Yeah, specifically Johnny Bravo, which was a cartoon I used to watch as a child. It was in not even in a window. It was a poster on the back portion of a wall that Johnny Bravo was in, and it shows the trade towers blown up with an airplane flying into it, and it says "Coming soon, 9/11," like a movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's been in media. That was also in The Simpsons, if you caught it, somewhere in The Simpsons, where they actually showed 9/11. They actually showed the Ebola virus. They actually showed West Nile.
Right.
They in Family Guy, they literally showed Robin Williams hanging himself before he committed suicide.
Right.
There's so much stuff out there that's right in front of these sleeping sheep's face that they just... This is right out of a fortune cookie. This is right out of a fortune cookie. He who notices the illusion does not act as if it is real.
Right. That's a good point.
And that's just what, like Cat Williams said before he went out of his comedy tour. It's called television programming. They're telling you visually to program. You're being programmed.
And just for you guys who, so you guys can see, so you guys can see, this is the Johnny Bravo cartoon snapshot here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the trade towers, it shows the trade towers, and it says "Coming soon" on there. That's actually the snapshot.
So it's not like we're making this shit up. It's right there. I mean,
but the whole point of this tangent.
Exactly. That's how come I'm like, make sure you bring the rage pills in, man, because it's not like we're making this shit up. There's too many coincidences to call it a coincidence.
Right.
It is. And I find it very offensive that people don't fucking listen and they get pissed off because I talk about things. You know, I'll look at people who support me on one front.
That's the Simpsons one. Sorry, go ahead and continue, Tim.
Yep. I get people who support me on one front, but when I talk about something else that they don't agree with, it's all out fucking war, and I'm a crazy conspiracy theorist. It's like, well, you believe me about this, this, and this. You know that I do my research and that my points are valid, and that my research is valid. Why would you not take me seriously here? Because it fucking scares you that it's too much for your tiny little mind to fucking accept? Because
that's why I made sure every time I came into a group as such as this, I made sure to let them know that, yeah, that one. That's the one that I've seen.
It says $9 and it's got the trade towers for the 11.
Yep. I've made sure that I let them know that, hey, I am actually trying to get a gang of people together that the original Holocaust are victims of. I'm actually a survivor. I'm not a child of the original Holocaust. I'm a survivor of the original Holocaust, and I'm talking things that happened before the 1700s.
Yeah.
And then whenever I talk about that topic, I'm like, oh shit, you're like, what? And then that's what Tin Man was just talking about. So you agree with me about everything else, but as soon as I bring up this one topic that you don't like, it's like, this guy is really crazy. He might be actually crazy, but no, you can't take my memories away from just like I can't take your memories away from you.
Get this, guys. My wife just found another premonition from Terminator 2 Judgment Day on the freeway overpass when he's being chased on the motorcycle. On the top where it's circled, you probably might not be able to see it. It says, "Caution 9/11."
Yep.
The whole
Saw that about a year ago.
Yeah, the whole point of this tangent, though, is that people are seeing the evidence in front of them. It's being put out there. And nobody's doing a damn thing about it.
Yeah. So that brings a good question here. What do we do about it? How do we fix the fucking problem?
Yep.
Go ahead and speak, Crucible, so that your screen pops up.
All right.
Yeah,
well, this is actually from Nostradamus. Nostradamus literally predicted a lot of things. He literally said that in the new city of York, there will be a set of twin towers falling on this certain parallel around this certain time. Boom. Nostradamus said it. Now, there's a few handful of things that Nostradamus predicted, such as Napoleon Bonaparte, Adolf Hitler, the atomic bomb, and what happened to John Paul II, and what happened to the Pope right after that. He foresaw all this. And another thing that he foresaw was Mavis. And I'm not literally saying that Secretary of the Navy Mavis is the Mavis he is talking about. I'm literally stating that it may be somewhere within his family. But as I show you this little newspaper clipping that I pulled out of a newspaper, I'm going to bring you to the bottom where something that Mavis literally said to twist the words of Anonymous and to twist the words of the collective conscious that is trying to come up. Fleet Week gives us a chance to connect with the people who are doing the protecting to the people who are being protected. First and foremost, he's speaking in circles like I do at times, but I understand it because I know how to speak this way. Secondly, he continued to say, these men and women are the true 1% that protects the other 99% of us. Now, what he has just said is a falsified lie, because there is not 1% of people that want to join the military.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, technically speaking, in this room that I'm sitting in right now, 33% have joined the military. So, I mean, if you want to go off those, I mean, it just depends on what statistics you want to go off of how many percentage of people, you know what I mean? You could do a poll right now. You walk out your door and ask, 10 different people what if they want to join the military, if they have any family that have joined the military or whatever, and then, you could take polls off of that. But in this room right now, there's 33% of people who actually, I would say 66% of people who have wanted or have joined, because Tin Man here tried to get into the military, but he can't because of his back. I actually joined and went into the military. So in this room right now, there's 66% of the population that's in this room right now that have been in or wanted to join the military. So on those numbers, I mean, you could scrub the numbers however you want to, 1%, 66%, however many people you ask. It's just a matter of, pulling in the proper numbers. I mean, he may be right on his poll on the same token that I may be right on mine. It may be 66%, it may be 1%, who knows? I mean, the numbers that are being...
Look, out of 7 billion people, you can't tell me 700,000 want to join the military.
Just depends on the
just
time
roughly
and
exaggerating the point.
what's currently going on. Like saying after 9/11, I was one who was gullible enough to actually wanting to join myself. Of course, I didn't eventually, but decided.
9/11 is what made me want to join. I'll tell you that right now. When I was, I think it was when I was. When was this? It was 2001.
That you enlisted?
No. 2006 is when I enlisted. So
2 years before my event.
Right. So I mean, we're talking here that like what Anonymous Inc. says, that an act of terrorism or an act of unpatriotism can cause or make people want to join the military just because
propaganda can be a very powerful tool. Like
Right,
when they showed
right.
how the people were dancing in the street, that got everybody up in arms.
Right.
And they'd play it on with so many different things, exploiting whatever tragedy comes their way.
Exactly.
But as far as like the solution to this whole thing, refuse to play the game.
Right.
Why play the game when you can own the board?
Well, like say how everybody's like how they were mentioning out of the fear, these enemies are weak. Like the 1% literally is. If the 99% were to come together, like what kind of power does a banker have if his money has no wealth? What more is he than just a bitter old man? That goes
Right.
for the Rothschilds, that goes for the Rockefellers, that goes for the J.P. Morgan family, the
That
Russells.
goes for the Bilderberg Group.
Yep. What power do they have except for the power that we give them?
This is true. That's why I haven't.
The concept of power is that it's always backed by money. So, I mean, the richest families in the world, these 13 families, the people that you're talking about here, they have the money, so therefore they have the power. So, I mean, as far as giving them power, they kind of already possess it. As far as finances go, I mean, there's a guy that lives in Mexico that is richer than Rockefeller right now, and if he wanted to, he can move here to the United States and be one of the families that own everything or have the power to do anything he wants to do. And most of the time, this is brought on by monetary value. It's not necessarily the populace giving them this control, but they're greenbacks. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly. Quick thing. Drummer Boy is trying to join in the conversation. He's on the. He's able to watch, but he's not. He can't figure out how to join the chat.
He has to. You have to like literally go to you, and you have to video call you, and then everybody comes into this. That's how I had to do it.
Or how I had to do it was I had to go to Gmail itself outside of YouTube, and click on the click on your notifications, and then click Join Hangout. Brought it
right.
I couldn't like join the Hangout. It let me just view the Hangout. That's how come you got 2 applauses, because I was sitting here clicking around trying to figure out how to get in. Then I was like, oh, screw it. I just went to your chat window and said, I'm going to video call them, and it let me in.
Cool.
Okay. So, Drummer, hope you got that, buddy. Good luck trying to figure it out. I still don't have this thing down.
Yeah, this is like I said earlier in the feed here. This is only our 3rd time being on here, and I want to forewarn everybody too that last 2 times we've been on Google Hangout and we were talking politics, we got shut off and shut off and shut off. So it's definitely something about politics. So expect this shit to go kind of loopy and crazy, but if it does for some reason shut off or pause or freeze or whatever, we will call you guys back and invite you guys back into the conversation so we can continue our talk here.
Okay. Plus we'll have this
I haven't said things that could upset the government yet, so I've been a good boy, so that's probably the reason why we haven't been cut off yet.
Me and Tin Man ourselves have not been, so that's probably the reason why we got shut off so many times before. So
I'm an asshole. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks or what anybody says. I will speak the fucking truth regardless of who likes it. And if you don't like it, then wake the fuck up. I'm not sorry I woke you up. I am the fucking alarm clock. Wake the fuck up and do something.
Wake the fuck up or move the fuck out. That's my opinion. So
yeah, shit or get off the
Illuminati card game.
Say that one more time.
Illuminati card game.
Ah, yeah.
Exactly. Now that's kind of why we shot that Mr. Giggles segment the way we did, you know.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah, just doing his thing in the shower for fucking hours. You know, he probably would stay in there forever if he could. But he had to get out. Shit had to get done. And that's the message that we were trying to get across. Get out of your comfort zone and fucking do something.
It's not just something to be just to be woken up. You got to stop hitting the snooze button, get out of bed, and walk out the door and make something happen. Literally.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. And that exactly is the message that we were trying to convey there. That, aside from being funny as fuck.
I can literally say that since the creation of things not allowed to be seen, the 3rd video on it, A Message to the Awakened Ones, I've sat there and watched it grow from a 5-figure number to over 1.1 million views.
Right.
Drummer's working on it. He got our message. Gotta love this shit. You know, isn't technology supposed to make our lives easier?
Yeah, I know. That's
operate these systems. It's like, okay, you're supposed to make these systems available to make life easier for us, and yet intelligent people like Drummer can't get on because the system is so overly fucking complicated.
Or because it's so overly fucking simplistic that you overlook it because you think it's a little more complicated than what it is.
That's a possibility too.
Hey, Drummer, top left of the Google Plus chat window, there is a web camera little button. You click on that, a window will pop open, and then you just wait for it. I had to load it like 3 times before it said allow.
Cool.
I literally had to open it into a tab instead of a new window.
Yeah, it's a
But yeah, there's things like the Greada Treaty. There's things like this Hadron Particle Collider. MK Ultra is old news. The Nantucket product is old news. This stuff I researched whenever I was a teenager. This stuff I know all the information about. This new stuff, the Hadron Proton Collider, whenever they fired the thing back up in 2008, it doesn't have the power that it has now. Whenever they fired it up a couple months back, I think I read in March they refired it up, it is working at 100 times, if not more, capacity. Whenever it started, it was barely a gigawatt. Now it's like a kilogigawatt or some shit.
Well, I actually watched that when it was live, and they were able to get some split particles, whatnot, and it was actually kind of fascinating. And it was like, okay, touch and go, but it's like we should be getting some of the pictures back from that to see what they've been able to discover.
You want to know why? You want to know why they don't tell you? Because they show you portals through time. America has 2 Stargates. America has 2 Stargates. They got one from Hitler in World War II. They just got the other one from Saddam Hussein. We have 2 Stargates. We can have instantaneous transmission on anywhere in the Earth if we chose to, because we have 2 Stargates.
Wormhole.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I read a few years back that up in Area 51, which is not too far from where we're at, that they're working on the applications for a Terminator-style time machine, a TDE. Apparently, the wormhole thing doesn't pan out.
Have you ever heard of the Nazi Bell?
Huh?
Have you ever heard of the Nazi Bell? We had time travel in World War II.
Yeah, I know about the Nazi Bell.
We had time travel.
I'm just hearing about this shit, so that's why I'm staying quiet. So I'm just listening.
All right. Let's try to put this into perspective a little bit. We've had time travel so long that we have went back in time and told George Washington to cross Delaware at night. We've had time travel so long that there was a secret message handed to Abraham Lincoln whenever he said the Gettysburg Address. There's this picture whenever Lincoln is doing the Gettysburg Address, where in the very front, dead center of the picture, there's a little kid that's out of place, and he has this tube in his shirt, and that's the mission to give to President Lincoln.
Yeah, I've seen those as well.
Have you heard that whenever JFK was assassinated, about a week before he was assassinated, he signed a peace treaty with Russia? A peace treaty with Russia, a week before he was assassinated.
Yeah, he was also going to abolish the Federal Reserve and started pulling us out of Vietnam.
That was some of the words of Andrew Jackson. He said his greatest accomplishment was, "I killed the bank." No other president since him has even tried to oppose the Federal Reserve or the bankers who have been stealing from everybody. But back in the old days, what did they do? When they were caught being like this whole interest thing, interest does not exist in the currency. They're just downright stealing, but now they feel like they're unable to be touched. Even though they have to put the word federal, they're still just a private bank.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing government about the Federal Reserve other than the fact that they've got the government bought and paid for.
And yet the
So
definition
that brings
of
up the good question.
Go ahead.
How do you get to the root of the problem? What do you do to end this nonsense?
In a currency-dependent world, choose to live currency-undependent.
And that has been my thought this entire time, man. I have been, like, basically have been telling people that a utopian society based on works alone would further our technology and technological gains in our society more than a society based on money or currency, that we would just all work for what we own, like our houses. We would work for our cars. Everybody would have
the betterment of mankind.
Yeah, work for the betterment of mankind and abolish the currency bullshit.
And then we have to learn from one of the mistakes of the past. Whenever currency is abolished, we have to learn that knowledge has become the new currency, as to say. Because once you accumulate so much knowledge, in the past they used to keep knowledge hidden anyway, like they do now.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. We have to learn from our mistakes of the past in order to become something that we are supposed to become, instead of this separated humankind that just wants to kill each other.
The divided states of America.
The divided countries of the world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I said it a while back in my video titled, "Why has nobody killed David Rockefeller?" You know, why has nobody killed the 13 families? Do you kill these people off, the New World Order agenda is dead. Yeah, you'll have
because they
politicians.
Huh? They have bodyguards. Why do you think resistance members disappear at times? Because they've gotten too close.
All it took to take care of Herman Rockefeller was an angry wife.
Yeah. I mean,
yes, because somebody that was already into that part of the system already was able to get that close.
Yeah, isn't it? Somebody from InfoWars walked up to either David Rockefeller or one of the other cocksuckers in the 13 families and fucking called him out on this shit. Said, "Hey, we're awake. We know what the fuck's going on. Fuck you."
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it's easy enough for somebody to walk up to these people with a camera, it's got to be just as easy to walk up with a gun.
Here's my thought on the whole thing, though, too, is that it's not, you're not just killing off a person. You're trying to kill an idea, and an idea spreads like wildfire. Somebody's always going to take up the torch. It don't matter if you kill the 13 families off. There's going to be 13 others to take their place. So, I mean, in order to kill these families off, you would have to kill these families and everybody else who shares the ideas of these families. So it's not about 13 bullets. It's about, you know, probably 13 million bullets.
Yeah, box.
Well,
Excuse me for a second, guys.
That is because I actually heard something. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was something like this. In order to take down a tyrant, you have to do it piece by piece.
Care to expand on that?
More or less, basically, you have to find pieces that are within the tyrant and either convert them, or if you can't convert them, you have to make sure that you know exactly who they are in order to point them out to everybody else. It's kind of like the one bad apple ruins the bunch. No, if you take that apple out of the barrel and show it to the rest of the apples and tell them what they did wrong, throw the apple away, and the rest of the barrel is fine.
I think the New World Order is a little more complex than that. In order, like, it's the whole idea behind it. Like, say, Hillary Clinton, Jeb Bush, and the rest of these crooks and cronies. It's not so much
the government is
able to remove them per se. They would. They're just the symptoms. They're not the cause of the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, before we get into what is the cause, because since you mentioned that, I want to ask you what the cause is. But Anonymous Zinc, could you turn up the audio on your end? Because you are really low.
Sorry about that. I don't know how to turn my mic output even higher, but let me try to work on that.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that the audience can hear everybody.
Testing.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
good.
yeah, that's fine.
You're good. I can hear you beautifully now. Okay, now carry on with your thought. What is the root of the problem?
The root of the problem is censorship.
Okay.
Well, to them, it seems to be like kind of like a board game. Like you notice how with Syria and Iran, like how the Rothschilds bank and banking cartel own pretty much everything else, but to them, they're playing the world like a real-life chessboard. Even though they have trillions of dollars, it's more than just the money and the wealth. It's become something a bit more.
Yeah.
And like how they say, like how the underlying theory of a monopoly is that you control everything and then the rest of the competition just disappears. But then it ends up collapsing upon itself. What has gotten through their minds to make them think that they're so superior to everyone else that they can just do whatever they please? It's like, it just blows my mind because I'm not in that position, but what is the real cause? Greed. It's in everybody's pocket. Money itself.
Hence the reason why I said what I said about the 13 families. There's always going to be somebody to take up the torch. And why me and Cursed Wolf here say that utopian society would be better off without monetary value.
Yeah. And I will not argue that fact. That is a very valid point. So, we eliminate money from the equation, or even just put, what are you doing, dude? There's no ports back there. It's got to be the front. Hold on.
Well, what is it the desire to control the will of others? Because I think because with how much of the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers have, it's more than money. Like what is it that their main goal is, like basically to control all the banks? That's why they're going after Syria and Iran. But what is the underlying cause? What drives them, even though their family could literally exist for the rest of eons and live like King Tut, so to speak?
Yeah, I don't fathom, I can't possibly fathom the appeal of wanting to control the world. Why can't you just be content with what you have? You're the 13 richest motherfuckers on the planet.
And why haven't they used it for good?
You can afford anything you fucking want. You can go to the store, you can buy anything you fucking want. You're not hungry. You're not without food or shelter or resources. You know, why is there that overwhelming desire to have more, to have everything, including control over the human population? That does not make sense outside of the notion of you being at the top of the ladder and everybody else is contending for that position, so you have to beat them into submission.
Instead of actually being able to use that wealth to bring us into new technological advances or eliminating poverty, or how much good could they possibly have done? And why it is beyond them to where they go so twisted to do what they're currently doing today, like say the manipulation of Greece. The whole collapse, this was by design. Everything that's currently going on as far as the collapse here, it's by design, and that's what's sickening about it. It's like, how much good could you have done and contributed and been known for?
Yeah, I mean, isn't there, you know, I understand that war is more profitable than peace, you know, as far as a business standpoint is concerned, because I took business management in college, so I understand how business works. So I understand the business aspect of it. But isn't it more profitable to build up society rather than destroy it, to build up the economy rather than destroy it? I mean, if the economy's good, you're making money. If you destroy the economy and people aren't buying, then you're not making money.
But see, here's the thing with that. You're talking about short-term and long-term gain, too. it's like you sell solar panels, okay? And I'm gonna reference this because this is
Just don't say the company I work for.
I won't. This is long-term and short-term gain here, and we're basically talking about, okay, you sell some of these solar panels, okay? They won't see a kickback from these solar panels for 15, 25 years, you know? I mean, it's a good investment to make. It raises your home equity. You know, your company decides to fix the roof if the roof is messed up or what have you, and it's a good investment to make with zero down and all that. It helps fix your electric bill, this and that, but you won't actually see a kickback from that for 15 to 25 years. And you're talking about short-term and long-term gain here. You know, some people will eliminate one of their bills by switching to complete electrical. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about doing. We were talking about taking out all of our gas appliances and just going with electric, so that we can eliminate one of our bills. But there's a give and take on both ends of the spectrum. You're talking about peace being more profitable than war, but you're also talking about long-term and short-term gain here. Over the short period of time, war is more profitable for the government, not for the people, but for the government to line their pockets. And over the course of time, peace would be more profitable for the people, everybody, not just the government, not just the populace, but for everybody, in a sense that our technological gains will be better, our schools will be better, our cars will be better, our homes will be better, our businesses will be bustling, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So you're talking about long-term and short-term as well as peace and war here.
Yeah,
So,
but even in these respects, the long-term investment is far better than the short-term investment.
but that's not what they're looking at though, because some of these people that are
It's like I want it and I want it now.
Yeah, are enacting these wars are older people, so they're not going to see the kickback in their lifetime. Maybe their grandchildren will see the kickback. You know what I mean? If we're talking about peace here, and we're talking about peace over a long period of time. They want their kickback now because they want to be able to use that money. They want to be able to use that wealth for their lifetime, not for their grandkids' lifetime. They want to invest in themselves and not in their future. And that's the problem we're having.
Yeah. And that is a big problem. You got all this fucking greed. Let's shift this.
Go ahead.
Let's shift this. Let's bring the religious aspect into this.
Religion is a form of control, and none of us want to be controlled. Am I not correct?
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the Book of Revelations. If the Bible is in effect true.
Before we get into this, everybody's pretty savvy on the Bible and all that, correct?
Yes, I know
Everybody's
a lot of things.
religiously, intellectually, compatible here. I mean, we're not going to have any problems with people not understanding what we're saying as far as Revelations or anything like that.
I read the Book of Revelations whenever I was a child. I more or less memorized it. Do not confuse me with chapter 10. You can more or less find myself in chapters 1 through 5.
Gotcha. Okay, go ahead.
All right. If in the respect that the Bible is true, and what is happening today is Revelations playing out, and what's happening is a result of demonic influence. What are your guys' thoughts, opinions, and input?
Chronicles of Riddick. Another form of evil must face evil.
Right. Exactly.
There you go.
It's one evil begetting another evil at that point. I agree.
I just think they think quite extremely high of themselves if they think that they're bringing upon something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if in the respect that this is true, that there is some sort of outside influence, whether spiritual or even extraterrestrial, as some people believe, what would be the course of action? Do we just let it happen, or because it's too big for us?
First and foremost, predictive programming shows that pixels is the best thing to represent for an extraterrestrial invasion, because they will not send themselves, they will send drones, so to speak.
Well, as far as here's my theory on extraterrestrials and that kind of bullshit. if an intelligent life form does exist, okay, which there have been theories, and some of them being pretty well thought out, and maybe even true to some degree. These higher beings, or these more intellectual beings, why would they travel light years upon light years from wherever the hell they're at to come to this fucking place to give us knowledge? No, they're not. They're either observing or they're going to want to take over. And that's my opinion on the whole thing.
Or
You are true about 2 of the 5 races that I know of.
Or like how I would like to mention when I actually got asked this question about a week ago. It's like, I don't think they would come here to do our paperwork, but I would think that they wouldn't want to interfere with the development of our species, kind of like a preservation pact. But it's like literally,
Right, so we're looking at a Star Trek scenario where they're explorers and not, developers or conquerors.
I think if they were to come to ours and see the Jerry Springer show, they would hightail it back to wherever they came from ASAP.
Like that song, The Dirt Ball. Based on the reports that you've collected, the dirt ball may not be the ideal place to land our craft.
Exactly.
Or they would see District 9 and say, no, no way.
But I can't fathom why an intellectually and technologically superior race would want to travel light years from their home world just to conquer this shithole. I mean,
development and expansion.
I'm actually attempting to find that answer to explain it a little bit better so I can actually say it from something that I posted on Facebook.
Okay, go ahead and expand on that a little bit.
He's looking it up.
I'm actually trying to look up the specific post so I can say it from the specific post instead of from memory.
Okay.
My ideals behind that, though, Chris, are this. That other life forms that want to come here to scout or observe, they are doing so in an attempt to try to colonize or expand their race, at which point they would have to annihilate the entire populace in order to do so, whether it be because our atmosphere is not conducive to their living standards or whatever, and they have to terraform, or, I mean, we could get into all kinds of different avenues and angles and aspects of this whole thing, but to make a long story short, they would do it to expand and colonize from their planet to a new planet because maybe their planet's dying, as our planet is dying right now.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be.
At which point, what's the appeal? It's like, oh shit, this one's dying too. Moving on.
Well, I mean, it's not going to die in our lifetime, and it may not die for several hundred lifetimes, but I mean, as far as that goes, it may be conducive enough for them to colonize here to move further along. You know what I mean? So who fucking knows as far as that goes? Yeah. But on a religious standpoint, as far as Revelations is concerned, I mean, you have two different opinions on this as well. You think that it means something one way, and I think it means something completely different. And no matter views and opinions expressed in this broadcast here, is any one person's opinion going to be right or even semi-conducive to what a general idea of thoughts leading to an intelligent, you know, ending and why martial law is happening or how all this stuff is playing out, because everybody has a different understanding of the Bible and how that all works out. Like for instance, we talked about on the weekly report, you read one line of the Bible, it means something to you. I read another line, it means something completely different to me. And that being said, you know, everybody's going to have different views and opinions on it, and no one person is going to agree 100% on anything. So as far as religion and intelligent life forms on other planets or alien beings or whatever you want to call them, it has really no bearing on what is actually really going on here in the world. And as far as that goes, the martial law thing, and I mean, I said this at the beginning. I don't know if you were here, Wolf, yet or not. I know that Anon Inc. was here, but we were talking about how Obama was trying to make this. It's happening all over again. The whole Hitler regime thing is happening all over again. To make a long story short, he's taking away our gun control, our gun rights, our Second Amendment rights, and our right to picket, freedom of speech, and whatnot. And he's doing this to make it easier to take over when he does enact martial law, because that is, I feel, it's his ultimate goal. I mean, this piece of shit got the Nobel Peace Prize just for being the first black president. I mean, what kind of bullshit is that?
And then he goes and does what he did with Benghazi.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, Lucid, like I said, you was speaking about hostile extraterrestrials and everything. Well, the 5 races that I've studied so far, 2 of them are actually hostile. 2 of them want to actually take over the planet. 2 of them actually want to destroy it. Both of them want to do it for their specific means.
Right.
But I actually found the post that I was talking about. And to touch on another subject at the exact same time, a soldier fights for a country, a warrior fights for an idea, as I begin this statement. I warn before I continue that this may be too much for a grand many to bear, as I say these next words of grand knowledge I know well and wish to give to each of you, knowing full well that what may happen to myself as I begin. I would like to say that this is the reason I am a warrior of the world, as I fight for all that is real. I just want to say these next 4, it is too much for even myself, but when it happens, it is the point of no return, as I warn grandly of such things coming very soon. Yes, finally, as I created enough type for this not to be seen unless wanted, I will tell each of you that it is that I hold so close and very dark secret that this is, as I begin to say, remember, it will be difficult to understand, as I have warned, it is truth, and not what you will hear when the point of no return has reached. E.T. is not E.T. E.T. is not E.T. The proper shortening should be E.D., for we all know what E.T. means. I will define E.D. for the ones who are still lost, extra-dimensional. Yeah, I knew Tin Man's wheels were turning before I even started the statement.
You said ED, and I'm sorry to take away from your thunder here, but I thought erectile dysfunction.
Not ET is not ET. The proper shortening should be Grammar! For we all know what ET means. I will define ED for the ones who are still lost, extra-dimensional. He kind of recorded me doing that.
Alright. Yeah, well, what's up, drummer? I'm sure you've got some thoughts and opinions here.
Chris just sent me an invite, so that worked out.
Dude, let me just get this guy here. Boom. Here, click on this. It might work.
Hey, drummer, I know you've got some thoughts that you want to convey. Go ahead and start popping off, man. We've all been running our mouths for the past hour. Why don't you go ahead and pop?
Yeah, it's turn. Go.
What are we talking about?
Everything.
Bible.
Well, we're basically trying to touch on the subjects of Jade Helm and martial law, the theory behind all that, and what is the resistance going to do if this does come to pass, and basically, are these things that are coming to pass, are they being subliminally put into our heads, like the 9/11 thing? You know, just kind of touching that whole aspect.
Let's start on Jade Helm. Jade Helm is something that obviously we're all aware of. It's something that's been in the light for some time, and it's something that's continuing to be in the light. Let's look at this from the enemy or the government, shadow government's perspective. We have this ultimate plan that we're going to put into effect and bring into a martial law that everybody is aware of. And if we were the government, would we simply stop that plan that everyone's aware of, or would we simply let everyone be distracted by that plan while we set up a new plan?
Exactly the same point that Tin Man made in the last weekly report. The magician thing. Watch this hand while this one robs you.
Exactly. I mean, things like we're always going to have people. I mean, 9/11. There's so much proof that it was an inside job and all this, but people are still denying it. I mean, is it going to be that situation with Jade Helm, or are they just going to let us keep exposing it, or are they simply going to throw up a different hand? Hey, watch Jade Helm while we do this, and we round up your people, or we make new laws, or we, you know what I mean? It could be all a giant distraction, and
Right.
the only things we can do really is to just keep bringing people to awareness and simply let it happen as it goes. We cannot, as a group, as anonymous, as collective, as whatever you want to call us, we cannot make a first move. We cannot go, rebel and burn, because that would play into exactly their hands. That's what they want from us. The way I see it is they're setting up all these things, all these, oh, how can it be happening? How can they do it to us? In expectation that we will do something, that we will rebel in order so they can say, okay, now we will implement martial law. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But is this a thing that has been happening for a while now, that they're just allowing to let the mainstream media come to light, or is this
happening? Sorry. It's
go ahead. Go ahead.
It's been happening since beginning of recorded time. I mean, we have the Bible. I myself am a Christian, but I do not. I've said it several times. I'm a follower of Christ, but I do not like being a Christian. I'm religious, but I don't like being in a religion. And
right.
It's all tied in together. We have these people, a group of people who literally believe they are the chosen ones, and in their minds, it's their responsibility to fix this world and do whatever they feel that they need to do to fix this world. So we have, over thousands of years, hundreds of years, we have Bibles and recorded history writings of how what you're supposed to live like, what you're supposed to do, and who you're supposed to worship. And really, it all comes down to it's an ultimate plan. Speaking of revelations, I personally believe that the government themselves are trying to fulfill the prophecies on their own. They're trying to literally set up things so they can induce not only fear, like, oh my God, it's the end days, and
they're using the Bible as a blueprint. That's the thought that a friend of mine who was supposed to be here today also had. His alias is Hatchet Assassin. He also had that same thought, that the government is using the Bible as a blueprint to enact fear to control.
And maybe God anticipated that. That's why he said it that specific way. This is what they're going to do.
The way I see it, and that's exactly
I wrote it. That's what they're going to do.
That's honestly what I believe, is they're using it as a blueprint. But an example of that is, you remember the Super Bowl with Katy Perry, right?
Yes.
Her halftime show, and she came out on that fucking mere tiger or whatever, right? Coming out of waves of the ocean, and she's
right.
wearing.
As a note to that, did anybody catch the Bieber rope where Bieber fell off of his little thing with angel wings on him?
There's a whole bunch of shit. But speaking back to the Super Bowl, I mean, when I saw Katy Perry come out of that on that tiger or whatever, I literally thought Revelations. I thought fucking, the harlot on the beast, and that stuff that automatically popped into my head, and
right.
It's just
same here. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
I definitely have to say, I would definitely have to say that was probably one of the best halftime shows I've ever seen. When she, all that stuff, the performance itself was amazing, but it had a lot of subliminal things that a lot of people missed.
It did, and like a wave of spiritual darkness, I mean, is cast over, and that's exactly what the point is. I mean, it's a good halftime show, and that's the message to the masses, and most people don't see those little subliminal messages.
Right, like you said earlier, the magic trick scenario. Watch this handle this one.
Right. Exactly. It's all, and to me, it's just all building up to something, and they're just following the blueprint, and the Bible, me and the Bible, I can read the Bible and I can get certain messages, just like you were saying, right? One person could read one line and get a message, and the other person could read another line. I mean, if we take the Bible literally, word for word, we'd be out stoning everybody right now. We'd be throwing stones literally at everybody in this world. I'd see a guy walk down the street. I'd be like, "Oi, you're wearing wrong clothes. I'm gonna fucking stone you." You know what I mean? Like,
Or the keep thy woman silent in church, slaves obey your masters.
exactly. I mean, it's just so. There's so much smoke and mirrors, and there's really nothing we can do except what we're doing. I mean, the plan is there is no plan. The only thing we can do is know what they expect us. But how do we know what they expect us to do? You know, it's a vicious fucking circle.
Yeah,
And,
that is the problem. How do we get the what up?
exactly.
I mean, everybody's always asking me, because I'm the fucking public relations guy. Everybody's always asking me, what's the plan? What's the plan? What's the plan? Do you even have a plan?
And the words of
RV thinks I just want to fucking kill everybody.
and the words of
No,
You know, I'm an asshole, but I don't want everybody dead, okay?
That's passed through my head a few times, Thin Man.
I think it's
I'm
run
an
through,
asshole, want
I
everybody
think it's
dead.
run through all of our heads. I mean, you know.
Yeah, his rants get a little personal. He takes things to the ass a little bit sometimes, but I mean, his shit's real, you know, for the most part. And if you can get past the personal, you know, offensiveness that he takes it to, if the message, you know, it's about the message, it's not about his personal vendetta against these people or things, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go
everyone
ahead,
has their.
what you said before, Lucid, about how people perceive me. What do you mean? What you and I were discussing yesterday in relation to how. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And this is, and I don't mean to say it like this, Tin Man, but this is the reason why I don't have very many friends, like close friends, is because of this reason. People perceive me, and I'm going to use me as an example first. People perceive me, take one look at me, and like, oh, that guy's a fucking hoodlum. I ain't gonna talk to him, or he's just a piece of shit, or whatever, you know. But after people get to know me, they're like, oh, he's a pretty cool guy, you know. He's got it going on. He's intellectual. He's involved in music. He's involved in politics. You know, this and that. After they get to know me, it takes a little while. Same thing with him. You can get past this guy's weirdness. You know what I mean? Because my mom at first was like, "Why are you hanging out with this guy?" I'm like, well, you gotta. I know he's kind of weird, but you get past the weirdness, and he's a good guy. You know, he'd give you the shirt off his back. You know what I mean? And for the longest time now, since he's been working, he's given me his entire paycheck to make sure that my kids have a roof over their head right now, because my wife is on disability because she's pregnant. So our income is super limited, and our bills are super high. So he's been working his ass off, full-time schedule lately, and giving me his entire paycheck and not asking anything but cigarette money, you know, and this is the type of guy he is in real life. But people perceive him to be weird or an asshole because of his videos, or because he's got kind of a goofy mentality when you meet him in person, you know, face to face. Your initial thought is like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after a minute, you're like, this guy's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna hang around him a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's like,
Well, we all have our shit.
That was a reflection of myself. I created that fucking character from my own imagination. The whole pretext behind that, we were doing this show called Tommy Bird, and basically it was just kind of like a jackassy show. But during the second season, the main host was kind of caught up in his control-freak girlfriend, and he wasn't coming over to handle his obligations. So we decided to get back at him and exploit his biggest fear, which was clowns. So I can got this character, Mr. Giggle, and when he came over, it was on and cracking. Lucid here, dressed up as Mr. Giggles, chased him around with a pair of clippers, trying to shave his head. We eventually chained this motherfucker to a chair, because this guy is so fucking strong. I swear to God, I don't think he's human. We had to chain this motherfucker to a chair, at which point we strapped an air compressor into his mouth, turned it on, and then lit his nuts on fire with matches.
That's fucked up, yeah.
It is.
And see, this is the type of thing that this guy gets a lot of flack for. It's all innocent and it's all funny and fun and games and on the video and stuff like that. But he gets a lot of flack for the shit that he does because it's so extreme.
Dude, we all have our shit, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing with us. I mean, we have you guys, and then we have me. I'm some dude running around and sitting on top of roofs, yelling about God and shit. We all have our shit, and I think that's
Right.
what makes us.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
you
makes
do
us
a lot of good things, like the Op Human Angel that you got us involved in. That
Oh, but now that I'm in the city, I'm actually in a city that Anonymous isn't very popular in, so we're going to be working on that a lot, and we're going to be doing a lot more operations. We're going to be doing a lot more Human Angels and stuff like that, so stay on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
It's going to be great. By the way, I'm glad to see you guys back over online. I'm very
Thank you.
sorry I didn't get to send you any money, but I was in my own little rough patch there.
It's all good. We're all in that patch right now, so
it's all right. One of our operatives helped us.
Very glad to see you guys back.
And it is very good to see you guys back. I mean, you guys went off the radar for some time, but when I saw Non-Exodus posting again, I was very happy to see you guys back in action.
awesome. It's good to be back, and it's good to have guys like you who have our back on this shit. So it's definitely a good give and take thing that we got going on here. And
Yeah.
I enjoy it. I mean, I'm sitting out in probably like 102 degree greenhouse type garage right now. I'm just sweltering with heat, and to talk to you guys right now, you know what I mean? So I definitely enjoy it a lot more than my comfort. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I'm going to talk about is the plan. I mean, what can we do? Really, we can't worry about what we're going to do. First, we got to worry about uniting. I mean, like Kirst said before, right? We have to seek the unknown, and that's with friends, that's with religions, that's with arts, sciences. You have to seek things that are less comfortable, or that you're not comfortable with, including people. If you see someone that you're not, too key on talking to, that's probably a force trying to stop you from talking to them, and you should probably talk to them. You know what I mean?
Right.
You have to seek strange things in order to gain more things. You can't just
You got to get outside your box and your own comfort zone.
Exactly. You'll never gain what you need to gain by just, living in your comfort zone. It doesn't work like that.
Well, I do know of one plan, but I don't think it's a very good idea.
Shoot, what is it?
Oh, where did TWRN, did Lucid and Tin Man drop off?
No, we're here.
We're back.
Still.
Can you still hear us?
I was making a little bit of a joke from a previous plan that was presented to us that was rejected, and the little fire.
YRV?
Yep.
That cucks.
I haven't heard of this. What is this? What are you guys talking about?
Oh, go ahead and elaborate on that.
One quick thing real quick, and then you can elaborate. I'm going to be getting up and down a lot during this whole segment. My wife's pregnant. She can't get up too easy on her own, so I'm going to be getting her things, stuff like that. She's hanging out here listening to the transmission as well. She's had some input earlier today. But for now, just to let you guys know, I'll be getting up and down. I mean, no offense or disrespect in that. If you see me get up, it's because my wife needs something. I'll be right back.
Okay. Go ahead. Let's explain the YRV thing. You have the floor.
Oh, well, we are a toothless dog, and there is a certain plan that can guide us to the future of America. And it involves a dictator by the name of Danny Boy, who was always harassing all of us, and he was just obsessed, flagging our channels down, and it was quite a riot. And
I haven't seen him for a while. I'm honestly surprised. I wonder if maybe he died.
I don't know, but if you say his name, he will come.
Say it 3 times like Beetlejuice.
Yeah. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, that's
Yeah, man. Danny Boy, he's something else, man. I feel bad for the guy. He had a shitty ass plan, and he got totally fucking butthurt about it. You know, it was a simple solution. Talk to people. Don't get butthurt that they rejected your idea. Find out what was wrong with the idea and fix it. It was that fucking simple.
That's what it is with every good plan. Every good plan is something simple. I mean, that just...
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be the stupidest thing. It can be the stupidest fucking thing, but, you know, it works.
And it could be a good plan. You know, most great plans don't start off as great plans. They start off as shitty fucking ideas, and you have to work and build from it. You gotta find out, okay, what do people like and don't like about this idea? What are the problems, and how do I fix them?
Yep.
And he refused to do that. And all he had to do was just sit back and go, okay, what don't you guys like? What would you suggest would be a good approach on how to fix the problems?
You know, that's the problem with everything, though. I mean, it's just you know, I don't know what to call it. Is it selfishness? Is it ego? Well, what is it? What makes us want
I think
to
it was
not
just madness in his case.
madness? I mean, but that all ties into ego or whatever, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the only thing we can do, I mean, is the first thing we should be focusing on and keep focusing on is uniting. I mean, uniting as much people as we can. We can plant those seeds. So when shit does happen, when the hammer does drop, we will be ready for something, because that's really the only thing we can do is wait for that hammer. Anything else, we're playing directly into their hands.
Look at what's happened with TWWRN just in the past 3 years. We are one of the biggest activist networks on the planet. You know, I have friends who aren't involved in the political spectrum of things, and I tell them, you know, I've got all these operatives all around the planet. I mean, the three of you, you're just a small portion of what has become the collective of the TWWRN network.
Well, we're just a few faces, right? There's so much more behind the face. There's the body, there's the brain, there's the heart, and
yeah,
Just
There-
ordinary
There's
people
being.
doing what we can to stand up for what we feel is right and against what we feel is wrong.
exactly, as a united whole, as a united people. And I've got a lot of flack, especially, you know, I try to bring as much Christians and whatever into Anonymous as I can, and it's you know, because Anonymous, to me, they fight for what Jesus wanted. I mean, you know, not against man, but the powers that govern man in darkness, and yada yada yada. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And but a lot of
that's
people.
what Reverend Hax was doing as well.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what?
Reverend Hax,
People-
wherever you are, my friend, cheers to you.
Reverend-
Hope to hear from you soon. Get back
Reverend
into
Hax, he will be making more appearances soon. I can tell you that. At
You're
their
in touch
sect,
with Reverend Hax?
they're
I
going to
remember.
be. They're going to be actually Reverend. I got a lot of trouble for sharing Reverend Hax and Ethersect pages like Anonymous Edmonton. They called it brainwashing. They called it all this stuff, and you know, these are the same type of Anonymous that are, you know, fighting inside of themselves and dividing themselves, dividing their house, and
Yeah.
that's the kind of shit we don't need. I mean, I'm not trying to bring Anonymous to Christianity. I'm trying to bring Christianity into Anonymous. You know what I mean?
An echo?
I got a little bit of one. But,
Yeah, so did we.
I get a lot of flack. I get accused of trying to turn Anonymous into Christians and all this, and that's not the case at all. I'm trying to bring more people with different views into the whole idea that is Anonymous. You know,
Yeah, well-
freedom, justice, the fighting together.
Yeah, like Lucy and I have discussed in the weekly report from yesterday. Doesn't matter what religion you're from, we all share these same ideologies, these same morals, principles, and ethics. That's what it comes down to, and that's what Anonymous is. It's comprised of Christians, Muslims, Jews, atheists, what have you. It's a collective from all walks of life. It's not
Exactly.
where we are different, it is where we share a common ground. And that was the basis of TWWRN. It's not, oh, well, you're anonymous, so I don't like you because I'm Tea Party. It's like, okay, where does the Tea Party and anonymous and this faction and that faction, it doesn't matter, put all the differences aside. Where is the common fucking ground?
Exactly.
And that is where TWWRN is, and that is why we have been so successful, because we are the common ground.
Exactly.
We are the neutral platform in which everybody stands.
I like that saying too. TWWRN, the common ground. That sounds killer.
That's good. That sounds good. And that's actually that's one of the reasons I joined you guys, because I could see you had different opinions. I watched your videos. You had different views. You had different opinions, but you were still working towards the common goal. And
I mean, he's Mormon. I, for lack of better term, am Christian. And like you, drummer, I don't like to consider myself categorized in the Christianity aspect, but I do believe in Christ, and I believe, in what the Bible teaches.
You don't subscribe to organized religion.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to the organized religion aspect.
That's and a lot of people can't understand that, and that's
right.
One of the problems. If you're a Christian or if you're a Mormon, you have to follow this way or this way. And personally, I believe we all believe in the same thing. We just use different words. And
right.
I talk to atheists, and I say, you really don't believe in any sort of higher anything. And we'll get to talking, and they'll usually end up at the point where they say, "Oh, okay, I believe in nature. Nature is God." Well, I believe in nature as God too. I believe God is in everything, including
right.
nature. And so, really, we do believe in the same things. And
yeah, we all have a commonality. It's just about breaking the barriers of what that commonality is in order to work together to produce a more fruitful endeavor.
Yeah, I mean, if we all get our differences, we're not going to accomplish anything. On common ground, it's like, okay.
We all get hung up on names and words, right? You can call it the universe, you can call it your higher self, you can call it your inner self, you can call it your higher power, you can call it God, you can call it Allah, you can call it love, whatever you
spaghetti monster.
You can call it spaghetti monster, as long as you realize that it is something else, and we're all connected to that.
Apparently, we have just decided we are having this flying spaghetti monster for dinner. We're not inviting him over for dinner. We are having him for dinner.
Oh, he sounds delicious.
Yeah, we are going to sacrifice the flying spaghetti monster to our stomachs.
Oh, I want some of his fucking meatballs.
Flying spaghetti monster.
Lower the carbon propane, less pirates.
All right, so I mean, where are we at as far as our main discussion is concerned, guys? I mean, we've gotten off on several tangents here. Where are we at as far as everybody has said so far what the collective is going to do, what the resistance is going to do as far as coming together and resisting this martial law thing. But where are the views and opinions on Jade Helm itself? Where are we at as far as our views and opinions are concerned on military personnel training on American soil to train against the American people? I mean,
what are we going to do?
Yeah, what are we going to do? Yeah, what are we doing to contend?
What can we do? That's the thing. Personally, I'm Canadian. We don't have that militarization that's happening yet, but it will happen. I mean, we got the bills. Canada is just being way more sneaky about it. I mean, the Bill's T-51s, it's all going to happen at once. But
yeah, I know you and Connor talk about this on a regular basis. I'm sure you do.
We do. And, we tend to try to stay away from Canada because most of the subscribers or most of the viewers are in America, so we try to stick on that. So when Connor and I talk, we try to keep it, between ourselves. But the thing is, Canada, we're so... we only know 10% of our military. Everyone thinks Canada has a really shitty military, but you know what? I've talked to a lot of military guys, and I personally know a few people who've been deep in that. And you think about how much of our Arctic is unexplored. Think about how much of our Arctic is not even, no cameras, no nothing. We have a lot of military presence that not even our own people is aware of. So one day it's just going to all come down. As far as Jade Helm and America, I believe that America will try to annex Canada eventually. They will try to, you know, once everything fucks up. That's just
Connor and I were talking a while back about how Canada and the U.S. are kind of in bed together financially. With Canada will loan us money and then we'll give money back. It's like almost like money laundering. I don't know if that has anything to do with Jade Helm and support from your guys' end in helping us with this training scenario with the Jade Helm thing, but maybe
unfortunately
the Exxon Keystone.
as much. Sorry, go ahead, thanks.
Oh, I was at Zinc, but if like with the Exxon Keystone pipeline, somebody says they were going to energy extort, kind of like what Russia's doing with the UK, but doing the same thing with Canada. But as far as what's currently going on with Jade Helm, it's like it's already begun, but what exactly are we seeing, like even from Texas being one of the so-called hostile states? I am currently in one of the Jade Helm states, but I'm not seeing very much going on the mainstream or even from the bases itself of anything out of the ordinary.
Here's the thing on mine and Tin Man's end, we travel from the high desert down to Southern California all the time to meet up with friends and family, and every single time we travel on the 215 freeway south California to Hemet to go see these people. We see military convoys all the time carrying machinery, personnel, weaponry. They're mobilizing for something. We see it all the damn time.
Yeah. They just getting off of work, you see these motherfuckers getting off the freeway in their military Humvees.
Sorry guys, I'm just gonna move outside here so I could have a cigarette.
Are we making you want to smoke?
Yeah, you guys are.
Okay, Kirst, you've been quiet for a while.
Yes, I've been typing a lot of things in the chat box.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Go ahead and touch base on some of that, because you seem you got a lot to say. So go ahead and reiterate that for those who probably can't see it.
Okay, well, I'll start basically where I started at about 6:20. One of the cards, the in the Illuminati card game actually states, I can't remember the name of the card, but it actually states, pass 2 actions, no matter what, 1 passes. Okay, so just something to think about. Another thing to think about is, from my personal beliefs, from the things that I've saw in my memories, is I think the rapture has been rigged. Like, it already happened, and they want control over everything. The little link that I sent was about the comment of he who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. That link is actually a movie, an AMV of something similar to that, with the cool song The Grudge. And then we was talking about Tin Man's weirdness and how he was weird, and I just basically state I am a randomly strangely shaped creature. And then we started talking about what people bag on other people about. So I just basically went and copy and pasted my To My Haters post, and tells you basically the 3 biggest things in my life that I'm a fuck up about. And the third one is kind of a little dramatic if you can actually see it. And I call the 1% evil humans. So yes, at one time evil humans employed myself. As I say, I know things to be fired, retired. As I say, with my knowledge of evil humans, what did you think? I just picked this up somewhere? Evil humans guard their secrets, and grandly as such.
Yeah.
And then I was talking. Then somebody said a statement about the box, so I had to come out with my statement about the box. It's like, I don't give a fuck about the box. I want to know why the box is here and who the fuck put it here.
There you go.
And then I went, we was talking about a common goal, so I went for the goal, but love must be the direction. And then I did some, soliciting, more or less, of my group on Facebook, as I run You Follow If You Can. And then I basically stated something I've come to knowledge of as well. As cells in our body make us whole, we are all cells of the Creator. And then Drummer and Lucid had a conversation about different religions. And I said, I'm agnostic. I believe all immortal beings exist, but worship none. And then we was talking about Jade Helm. And I basically typed this down. When I was a teenager, I had this vision from my guide that said, in 2015 it begins, 2025 it's over. I believe this is 1/3 of an event that is happening to prepare the military and police for the FEMA camps, which basically means all of us are going to be in FEMA camps sooner or later unless we figure out how to change it.
Okay. Is there any ideas on how to change it? We've already discussed possibly killing the 13 families and how that probably wouldn't work because there's always somebody to take the torch. Eliminate money, but then you've got the aspect of greed. So, where do we pick up from there?
Where do we pick up from here? I basically believe as soon as they give the false flag up that literally proves something that a lot of sleeping Americans and a lot of sleeping people around the world, do not want to believe, is whenever the majority of the sleeping will awake, and whenever that happens, we might have some fighting ground to stand on.
Yeah. Well, I think we've already got a pretty good foothold as far as a fighting stance. And
yes, we have the ones that are intelligent enough to see the illusion, but we do not have the ones that have been given the illusion and said, no, fuck that, that's not happening.
Unfortunately, we have a lot of people that are, you know, like Tim and like Lucid's wife, you know, they know, they are aware, but they're just, you know,
Comfortable, as I said.
comfortable. They're scared. You know, I talked to a few people at work already where I'm working at, and it's the same story. You know, it's not gonna affect me, or this and that, and it will affect everybody.
Well, we can't forget the seeds as well. Like, say, of what we've currently done so far. We stopped SOPA, PIPA, CISA, and even the beginnings of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And even so, like as we saw with the homeless people when, like Operation Robin Hood in Nottingham, even the smallest act of kindness can change the course of the future.
Yep. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
That's really the only plan we have, is to just keep loving and keep doing what we have. Personally, you talked about the rapture before, and the rapture, I believe there's going to be, you know, a rapture. The first was in 2012, the Mayan calendar, because that's when I kind of got hit the first time too. And it wasn't the whole end of the world. It was the end of a certain way of thinking.
It was the end of Twinkies.
Yeah, it's
Twinkies
and it all started. I mean, the rapture, I believe, is going to be a bringing up of people, all the seeds that we have planted, that we are continuing to plant. I think the rapture is going to be just a mass blossoming of those seeds, and we're going to have a bunch of people awake. And that's why I believe one of the only plans we can do is just to keep loving, keep doing what we're doing, keep the operations up, and keep planting those seeds for when the time comes. Whatever global event will happen, I mean, it's not going to, you know, I don't think it's going to be just God, okay, you're all woken up. I think it's going to be a global event that's going to be, you know, people saying, this is actually happening. It's actually going to be, you know, no longer a what if. It's going to be an if. This is happening, and this, you know, fuck. It's such a hard topic to explain and talk about, and it's scary. And you know, we have people like us. We're obviously, you know, we're not cowards, but we're not the bravest people either. You know what I mean? We're still. I can honestly say I'm scared. I'm scared of what's gonna come, but I'm not. You know,
Yeah, you'd be a fool not to be.
I've had too much shit happen to me to close my eyes again. You know what I mean? It's
This shit can't be unlearned.
It can't be.
That's what I was warned. That's what I was warned whenever I first started stepping upon this knowledge. This shit cannot be unlearned. Do you want to know it or you don't want to know it?
Exactly.
And once you wake up, it's hard to go back to sleep.
Why, oh, why didn't I take the blue pill?
Exactly.
Oh, shit!
I shoved them both up my nose and both up my mouth.
Why did I pack up all my shit and leave? You know, why did we do that? But I mean, just to backtrack a second, and hopefully it ties in what we're talking right now. Lucid was mentioning, we were talking about, you know, America and Canada and the pipeline and all that, and the embed with the money. Canada, unfortunately, as much as people like Connor and I, we don't like to admit it because we love our country, but Canada is directly tied in with America. Whatever America is going to do, our Canadian government is going to back America. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's like America and Canada. They're two gay guys raping a straight guy. It's like, okay, America, I'll hold the butt cheeks open. You just ram it in.
Yeah, you know, exactly. As crude as that explanation is, that's kind of what it is, you know. And you know, we all talk about we can get Obama and we can get Harper out of office and all these problems are going to go away, but they're not going to go away. And in the end, they're just faces. I mean, just like us, you know.
Like I said earlier, it's like the concept of killing the 13 families. You're going to kill people, not the idea. You know what I mean? You're going to have to come up with a better idea to kill the idea. You know what I'm saying? So 13 bullets ain't gonna handle the job. It's gonna be 13 million bullets and, you know, mind washing that's gonna handle it. So
and there is the possibility of, okay, there are more of us than there are of you. We're armed. We're pissed. You're dead. Shut the fuck up and go away, or your ass is grass.
And then you know what?
Probably scare these people into submission.
Why do we have to agree to these laws that we didn't get even a chance to vote for?
Exactly.
Such as Goldman Sachs being able to endorse 500,000 to both parties ever since Bush and Gore, Obama and Hillary, or Mitt Romney, whoever. They endorsed Bush 5. Huh?
As long as we're wearing our tinfoil hats. I mean, Illuminati. I mean, these are people. The 13 families. These are people who, in my theory, these generations and hundreds of years who are actually and raised to believe that they are the chosen ones. They believe they are the good people, and they will do whatever it takes to make this earth survive. I mean, they have seed vaults. They have all these tools necessary to destroy us and to rebuild. I mean, all they need is an excuse. You know what I mean? And that's why we have all these Jade Helm. We have all this fear out there. So one group one day is just going to say enough. They're going to fucking bomb a bank. They're going to do whatever. And then there's the hammer. I mean, and they're going to implement martial law. And you know what? We will be the bad guys for that.
Or we could just take the second option and say, hey, nobody's against the law. Open up Guantanamo Bay, let them out, put the real traitors of these, like say, put them in their place and say, hey, you are judged by what your actions have done. You want to commit crimes against humanity and think you can get away with it? You got another thing coming.
I say we put all these tyrants and these traitors in a giant fucking outhouse and fly their ass to the fucking moon or something, because, I mean...
Well, there's like a trip to Mars. I mean, why don't we just do that, right?
Right. Well, and just leave them there.
That's something I would like to talk on. That's something I would like to touch on here. I was thinking about this earlier. They want to kill the planet and all this fucking shit, and they want to fucking leave and populate their own world. Okay, great. Just fucking go. Leave this world to us. You can go occupy your own fucking planet and do your own fucking thing. Leave us the fuck alone.
Well, here's the problem with that, and this is just something that I heard from my buddy Hatchet Assassin. He was telling me that NASA somehow leaked on mainstream media that we actually have not, and I know this is a big conspiracy theory and all this stuff, but this, I guess he said, and this guy's a trustworthy guy. I've known him for about 8 years now or so, and this guy was telling me that he's like us. He looks into shit and he does his research, but I guess he said that he saw a report that this NASA, like head of NASA, somebody high up in the ranks there, said that we haven't even made it past our own atmosphere, that the moon was like it was clued in that the moon was a hoax, that the moon landing was a hoax, and that we haven't even actually made it past our own atmosphere because of some kind of magnetic field or some kind of thing that just kills the fucking electronics in a rocket so that nothing can go past it.
Sounds kind of like whenever they try to put a probe inside of Venus and it exploded 10 seconds as soon as it passed through the clouds.
Right.
Well, that's because, well, if that's true, it's because Venus has a sulfuric atmosphere. However, what scientists had researched that they had found sulfuric-based jellyfish in these deep-sea volcanic vents that they're no longer carbon-based, but in fact are sulfur-based life forms. That opens up the possibilities, like say on Venus itself having a sulfuric atmosphere, that there may be life that's just not the same as ours.
Right.
Yeah.
Blows it out of the water.
I had a crazy vision when I first got to this church that I ended up tenting behind when I was on my little spirit quest. It was oh man, it's so hard to explain, but I asked, you know, what did it all start with? And it wasn't Adam and Eve, it was atmosphere, you know, and it's crazy that you mentioned that. Fuck, how am I gonna explain this? I mean, let's say Chris brought up aliens before, right? And how they may have changed what we were doing, and and I know NX said something about they wouldn't interfere with us, or they might not interfere with us, and they already have, honestly, all the technology. Yes, all our technology we have. I mean, it's a simple. Think about how much technology they're keeping away from us right now. In our generation, in my lifetime, I watched computer go from big ass box computer to playing, you know, whatever, into this little iPad I'm using this for, and yet we're still using the same engines. We're still using all this shit. There is a theory that, like let's say Lucifer. There's a theory that Lucifer is not really just a bad guy. He's just a guy playing his role because he was the firstborn. When he was born, he had no one to look up to except for God. God was his role model. So he didn't try to be God. He tried to be like God. In the beginning, we were all. There was no free will because we were all in sync. And then Lucifer came, and then he changed it up. He gave us a choice. He gave us free will, and then all of a sudden, there's a duality in life. And one guy had to represent bad, and one guy had to represent good. Basically, what I'm saying now is that all the technology that we're using right now is Luciferian. It's an alien technology, and if we didn't have it, we wouldn't be nearly advanced as we were. And we have used it before, and we have been advanced. I mean, the world just isn't however old we think it is. I mean, there's so much proof, and there's so much, you know, conspiracy or whatever you want to call it, that there has been other life before us, and it's just so messed up because each time this world is going to be destroyed, and it's going to keep getting destroyed, and I believe there are aliens around us. I mean, a lot of other Christians believe that aliens are demons, but I believe they're both, you know, angels and demons, and we ourselves are children of the angels. We have this sleeping secret inside our DNA, this knowledge that has been implanted into us since the beginning of time, and it's knowledge that helps us evolve and to grow. And right now, what we're doing when we're discussing our opinions and our theories, we're expanding that knowledge inside our head, and that's really what we can do to figure things out. But the problem is we won't figure it out until it's too late.
That is true.
And you know, and there's so many connections that prove what we're saying. Like the universe, that's inside our minds. It's inside our hearts. There's so much things. And I know it's hard. I know I talk about random shit and jump around, but you get what I'm putting down, right?
Like, yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
But you know, there's so much to dive into, and there's just so much in this world that we as human beings don't understand and can't comprehend. That's why I choose to think that religion or the concept of God isn't necessarily what we think it is. It's not a singular entity. You know, what if God is not an individual, but is actually a governmental system? It means beings that we have had encounters with, such as angels or demons or
alien life forms, whatever.
Or not even alien life forms, but angels, demons, direct revelation from God. What if these entities are actually just alien beings contacting us and guiding us?
Well, that's a great point, Tin Man.
Yeah, and what if what we know as magic or spirituality is nothing more than a level of science that we have not reached and are presently not able to comprehend and understand?
Isn't that the basis of the Scientology religion?
I don't know. I've never read their volumes.
That's funny you bring that up, because science, you know, a lot of people think science disproves God, but I believe science proves God. I believe science is one of the languages God gives us to help understand the universe and God. As far as mainstream belief in God, I do believe that it's been created, that, you know, through the Bible and through whatever, that we have developed this perception of God, things he can't do, things he can do, some guy sitting in a cloud, whatever you're going to say. God is to me a giant amoeba, a single-celled organism that everything is encompassed in, and there's different amoebas, but they're all still part of the same amoeba, and every time someone changes the message, a new amoeba appears, you know what I mean? A new God appears, but really they're all connected to the same God.
And that's why God doesn't like people worshiping other gods. Stop splitting me in half!
Exactly, you know, stop fucking up the message, stop dividing stop doing that.
That's the whole basis of the ideal that I had on religion too. We have how many Christian-based religions?
Over 41,000.
Over 41,000 different Christian-based religions. We have, the devil worshippers. We have the pagans. We have, all these different religions teaching, for the most part, the same thing. And maybe this doesn't encompass maybe devil worship, but most of the Christian-based religions and the ones that teach peace and knowledge and good deeds and faith through works and whatnot, we're all on the same team here. Maybe it's just different understandings of the same thing.
Yeah, and maybe the spaceship that Morning Land thought was going to come from, maybe it was going to come, and when they got close enough, they're like, never mind. We're getting the hell out of here.
We'll come back later.
TV show.
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah, we're actually out of time on this. We're 3 minutes past the mark. We've been running for 2 hours, so we're going to pick this back up at 7 o'clock in 3 hours.
3 hours. Got it. I will be here.
Awesome. All right. Well,
that's 8 o'clock my time.
I got to promote this shit. Get it out there.
I'll get Curse to send me another direct link so I don't get fucking lost.
I will. You know how to do it now.
Just clicking all these things. I'm like, how the fuck do I get in this shit?
Here, dude, just click this.
Exactly.
It's pretty much.
Anyway, until next time.
All right. See you guys in 3.
Yep. Until next time, I'm Tin Man.
And I'm Lucid.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back in 3 hours.
See you guys later.
Peace out.
Later.